win. What do you think that a key contributor to that is, Sheep?
So obviously there is something big to talk about with Soniqs, and that is like the roster change they made. They brought in Fada as their captain. They have all spoken extremely highly of him, by the way. Like, so obviously they also came back together as a team. They were apart for a while. They were playing with like Ponlo and Kezu, and I think Quinn noted that everyone had come back individually much stronger. Talking about Fada, people said that he's very strong in his directions. Like the difference between like him and SVG was like SVG was he could raise the team's morale a lot more than like what Fada does, but Fada is like giga chat. That's what MSS said. He said Fada is a giga chat. He will tell you.
Quote.
Yeah, he's like, stop doing what you're doing and come do this. He is very blunt and direct with his actions. So you see that in Quincy. Oh, sorry, Sonic. Oh god.
Down she goes.
No,
yeah, you're gonna lower the chat. We said it.
I'm down.
All right.
Yeah, so you'll see that in like their actions. They will make a lot like sharper, more snappier moves in the map, and that is like a result of Fada's captainship.
Shouldn't that be what you want from any single position 5 captain, right? Like you can get motivation from your coach before the game and whatnot, right? But these kind of things, I like what you said, because it's something that I use as well. Like their metronome just goes on a faster beat, right? Like when you have one person, one voice that directs you exactly and tells you exactly what you need to do, because he has that confidence within him, it just makes everything look more fluid. Like it just makes everything faster.
Yeah, and they're all responding really well, because like Lelis was saying that he's not an innate captain and he needed that voice, and it's been like really better for him. Like Fada, when asked about it, he said like, I'm just applying my own thing to like this team. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything special or new. I'm just like, these are what I think makes a good captain and how to make a good team, and he's just doing that with them, and they all like it. Like I'm very positive about this team, and I hope that they do improve more over this tournament. Like maybe they take the next game. That would be super hype.
Well, what do you want to see changes and adaptations for them to potentially take the next game?
Are we just talking about the draft here?
Anything, right? If you say that they were lacking something in the draft, if you say that they were lacking something in the gameplay, if it was the rotations were too early, they weren't early enough, they didn't have a focus on Roche.
I would first switch up this 1-2. Like the way they're playing right now, the way they played in game 1 at least, it's more on Quinn than it is on Yavar. I would pull it back and move it back towards Yavar, let him be the true hard carry. Meanwhile, Quinn can be the one that just play makes, right? And another thing, it's like, if you are putting that Weaver on the offlane, if you do like that, you need to ban out some of the hard counters. You can't have your offlaner just be completely shut down.
We are going to be jumping into draft very, very soon. And at the start, you said maybe ban Marcy, right? If you're the side of Soniqs, maybe ban it. If we ban Marcy, what are you potentially letting through instead? What are you okay coming up against in order to replace that ban with Marcy?
So they banned the Puck and the
Razor,
right? Yeah. Honestly, I'd rather they kept the Marcy in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think they just need different ways to deal with it, or I don't know. Maybe the I don't know if the picks have swapped this game. I don't know if they have second pick.
They should, I guess.
The picks have swapped because
Liquid have first pick this game.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's going to be a different thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to want though, because they prioritized Tiny last time, not the Marcy. So they clearly think the Tiny's better. I think MSS did do a really good job with it. Tiny's gone though, because they don't want to. So they think that Liquid would also prioritize it.
It's actually Puck that went through.
Yeah.
So the Puck is now an option for both of these teams.
But do Liquid want it more than Marcy? Because like, here's the thing: if they take Marcy right now and Soniqs responds with like a Puck, then why? Like, what's stopping Liquid from taking Lone Druid at the end of this phase? Because they know that they love that matchup, and they're very comfortable taking Lone Druid. So if they see a good core matchup, yeah, they could just snap that up. So I don't think they should feel pressured to take first pick Puck, or maybe they think they want to take it away from Quinn.
Do you think that Liquid should just show their Lone Druid strat instantly? I mean, it's not really anything hidden.
It's
not a hidden thing, right?
We're not telling the deepest, darkest secrets about this Lone Druid.
When we were in the green room, we were watching Seb and OG play, and they went with an IO pick. And if you look at Seb and what he's been practicing recently, it's just a ton of Wisp, right? It's interesting that on day one, you just show your hand completely. I guess at this point, there's nothing hidden. All of these teams are screaming each other. You're pubbing. Everyone is watching your profile. So
there's no way Lone Druid's a hidden thing that they need to hold. I think if they're holding something, it's like something wild. I don't know. I don't know what it could be, like Art Gordon.
Yeah, and with something like a Razor Band, I'm sure they can go. Yeah, they might just snatch that Lone Druid here. We'll see.
I would love it so
But
much.
There's the Eastern European approach as well. They go for it. Yeah.
Damn, we read this drop like
You
a
did.
book.
You
So
did.
free.
You did. You're like liquid.
It's so
Paradise
easy.
and Mossy. Critical one
there
is
is
We're
some-
patting each other on the
No,
back
please.
again. Let's
Back,
go.
It's well deserved. You guys did great. You did
Ah.
fantastic.
Easy clap. Okay.
So now do the next phase.
Yeah, so I do think they might benefit from a little bit more catch on Liquid for the Puck.
Yep.
In the past, Liquid have put the Lone Druid mid against Puck, like the last few times they played against it, I think. So there's a chance that Mickey takes something to carry roll. I know when the Lone Druids come out and been mid in the past, Mickey has played Sven, he has played Pudge. Maybe these are heroes that could come out.
You're pretty much expecting any sort of a semi-core, right? Like you're
5
not
seconds
expecting
remaining.
these hard carries to be comboed with the Lone Druid because he will be taking that position for himself. What they do need is they need catch for the puck. So what are we talking about here? It's kind of an age-old story of Lions, Shadow Shaman, Skybrat, perhaps, like Eastern Europe.
Sky is really nice.
Sky
In
Void Spirit.
general, or for this?
Just against the Puck. It's
Against the
something
puck,
that Boxy plays as well. Like he has played it. I love Skywrath. I think it's great. It is like a little bit weird though, obviously, because right now this meta really favors offlaners that
5
are
seconds remaining.
like melee 4s and ranged 3s. But Liquid don't really care. Like we just saw them play Slardar, which is very much a return to like older offlane styles.
It's the return to Team Liquid when they were Alliance or something. They were spamming that Slardar constantly, right? Like back in the day when Boxy was playing it, at least.
Yeah. I do really
10
like
seconds.
the change though in offlane. I mean, I don't like it so much. I'm personally a player that really likes the blink in, use your spells and die offlane style. That's not what's happening anymore. Like we saw last game, Zai playing that Slardar, he went the Mask of Madness into BKB, no blink. It's very much carry focus. You see a player like Amar really like exemplifying this. He is just a third carry on the team every game.
They just get more space as well in most games. Like you can afford yourself to build something like an armlet, even if you remember Night Stalker armlets on the offlane as well. Like
Yeah.
they were buying it. Collapse as well, extremely greedy on the offlane when his team allows him to be that way, right? And back to your blink statement, right? Like even Enigmas aren't buying it anymore. Like
Yeah.
most of the time you see that raid packed first and a couple of extra utility items, and then perhaps later you go for the blink.
Yeah, it's been like a build where they have to play around things as well, right? Because all these enigmas were responded to by wyverns. So then if you're going this blink build, you're just getting countered by the wyvern ult anyway.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what's the point? And yeah, it's like cool.
So cool.
So
No.
cool. God.
I'm just messing with you guys. The bans, though, I know there's still a few more to come out, but are there any heroes that you feel are a necessary ban or anything here that's a surprising ban?
I'm just thinking about, okay, the Alchemist and the Tusk, nothing too extreme. It's heroes that are being picked up at the moment, that are being highly contested. Nature's Prophet on Sonic, yeah, like we said, Nature's Prophet is one of those cores that can be a semi-carry as well. He doesn't necessarily have to be extremely greedy, can be on offlane as well, so it's possible to rotate him anywhere and complement him very well with the Lone Druid. What are the heroes that countered Lone Druid in the past? There was a Weaver, right, like that we've seen in the last game, but I'm not sure it works just as well at the moment.
Whenever I talked to Fear about Lone Druid, 'cause he loved that. He was
He
loved
does
that
love
goddamn
it, man. He would talk about
Yeah.
every day.
He was a big fan of just heroes that could stand there and man fight. In the past, it was like life stealers. Now
Yep.
there's like Drow Rangers do a really good job. We saw that be effective in C. I mean, that hero's super out of meta though, so I don't think we will see it, but it would be cool.
A Lifestealer is kinda in the meta,
Yeah.
but
he is.
most games that I have seen in this matchup, recently at least, it's like, yeah, he's strong, but he never gets to the items that he needs versus the Lone Druid. Lone Druid gets like Mask of Madness, Basher, Dazzle,
yeah.
and
then Lifestealer's done.
yeah, he's done anyway.
Yeah. I don't think that matchup's as good as it used to be at all.
Are there any other sort of stand there, man up heroes that stick out to you that doesn't necessarily have to go with the lineup of Sonics, but just
I mean, a two-way street is Faceless Void. Obviously, like Lone Druid's really good at like killing mobility. Lone Druid kills mobility heroes. That's why he's picked against like Puck. So Faceless Void again like suffers really hard to the entangle if caught. But at the same time, Chrono does allow you to pile all that damage onto him. Because the worst part about Lone Druid and dealing with him is the extreme amounts of lifesteal that you get when your bear is hitting someone, the main
The main
Druid.
team,
He is just so like he heals so hard. So you need a way to like control and knock down both of these so the bear can't do anything. And it's going to be even more like even worse with a Marcy who's going to sidekick your bear, and it's just, oh my god, the amount of damage.
Well, Sonics have picked up the Winter Wyvern for themselves. You guys are lacking that on the side of them now.
Yeah, more heals coming for Sonics now, right? The only difference is this Wyvern will not be a core. I don't see it. Maybe on the offlane.
Yeah.
But I really don't see them playing it as position 3. And now, if you remember the last game, I believe the Night Stalker was banned out.
It was banned, yes.
For a good reason, because look at Puck, Dazzle, and Wyvern. This is... the night is scary.
I just need that, like, that just clipped. Listen, the night is scary.
Oh boy, I'm scared.
Oh goodness, I wouldn't want to be in the nighttime in this game.
It will be very difficult. Once he gets some Blink Dagger and he jumps the backlines, like Dazzle, Puck, and Wyvern, they have to be positioned in such a way that they can save each other, right? But that they're not clipped by the silence at the same time.
I do think that Sonics actually were pinned into picking this Winter Wyvern. I think if they didn't take it, I think Liquid would have. And I think it's really good, and we've seen it picked like by them in the past with the Lone Druid, because the bear has such a massive health pool that the Wyvern heal, which is percentage heal, it just completely heals it, and it makes the bear even more unkillable. So that combo is like so potent. I think they were kind of forced to take it. Not that it's a bad hero, right? And it's good against Lone Druid still, but yeah, they definitely had to take it, and I think this Night Stalker was a perfect response.
If we use that one brain cell that we have,
Yeah.
Jakiro, we do love it, right? Like versus the Wyvern as well.
I hear you.
Yeah, keep talking about it, keep going on about it.
We're like the two heads of Jakiro.
It's it should be pretty solid here. The Cold Embrace isn't as potent anymore. I believe that Jakiro overall is a hero that should be picked up a little bit more.
Well, you know what? Nah, I don't want to talk about the Jakiro anymore. I want to look at the Death Prophet, okay?
No, I don't
just
care
got
about Death
picked up.
Prophet.
No,
What the
I
heck?
want to talk about it. Let's talk about it, okay? Do you guys like it being picked up here, Sonics? Where do you think it's going to go? What's the impact going to be for it on this?
Well, the Siphon on paper should work really well against the Lone Druid, right? I'm not sure if this should be your offlane, that Prophet with the Winter Wyvern, or with the Dazzle. That should be your lane. And yeah, I do like her. She in the Chinese region, she kind of lost. Well, the teams weren't picking her by the tail end of the season, right? Like she kind of lost that importance. However, I know that in other regions she's still picked up.
Like Southeast Asia.
Like SEA, right?
That's it. That's why I wanted to talk about it.
Let's go. Yeah, Southeast Asia love Death Prophet,
Yep.
especially on the offlane role. They're such fans. We literally, on one of the other streams, they're playing Death Prophet.
On Fnatic.
Fnatic, yeah. Jabs played it. And
it looked great.
yeah.
It was fantastic.
Because that's what that region does. They just pick it, they own their lane, and then like it's a Death Prophet. What does she do? She takes your objectives. She can go to Roche, she can go to towers, she takes the exorcism, and that's what she does. And I think it's a very effective hero, and I think it's pretty good at winning its lane too. It's like a strong laner. It's very simple. Very simple.
What's the idea with these 4 range heroes that all kind of want to be on the sides, though? I guess the Dead Prophet wants to run in. Do you think that that's something that's lacking for Sonics? Right now, they're just like, no one really wants to go in.
Yeah, I guess they're just like searching for ways to deal with LD. Because like even the Wyvern with the percentage health damage on Q, like it's just, they're just Arctic Burn.
So the Arctic Burn
Spell
plus the
names.
Siphon.
With the Siphon, maybe they can use that to like bring down the bear. Because this is a massive problem. Like this is the problem. This meta, there's so many heroes to ban, and then you have a team like Liquid who's just gonna pick Lone Druid in the first wave. Like there's too much to deal with. It's really hard.
Should we get another ban?
Yeah, they should
Give us back
3
another
bans.
ban.
Yeah, I agree.
But only when you come up against Liquid.
Yeah.
That's it. Any other matchup, though, it stays the same.
Yeah, well, like this is Sonic's problem. They're not creating a well-rounded draft right now. It feels like because they feel so pressured by this LD pick. Like Liquid feels in the driver's seat.
It might all come together with that one last pick, right? Like that's something that can make it all work, because there are options to get something cheesy there with the Dazzle, with the Wyvern.
There's the Mickey Pudge, boys.
There's the Pudge. Yep.
I don't want to see it.
It's not particularly fantastic against DP in lane if she is going off, but it's your comfort. You feel good on it.
Yep.
The hero's kind of insane. It's going to tank a lot of damage.
How do you retaliate then? What is Soniqs going to have to pick up here to not only bring their lineup together, but also kind of deal with what might not already be dealt with on Liquid?
I think they're just going for some default carry in the end. Like
Phoenix carry. Not.
perhaps not the default I was
Guys, we
thinking
need a
about.
default carry.
Guys, it's a really,
Phoenix,
it's a
Phoenix,
really good Phoenix game.
carry.
Guys. I'm
Do you
sorry.
think that is Monkey an option?
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
It's not banned
Nope.
versus the Pudge.
It's
They
gonna
go
be
with an
Ursa.
Ursa.
Sorry.
Okay, that's a different default.
They were so
Yeah, I was
low
gonna
on
say
the-
it's a
they were
little
so
default.
low on extra time though. I couldn't think straight.
Oh, sure. So you threw out Phoenix. I
Yeah.
never think you threw out Phoenix.
Well, I mean, it's really great percentage-based damage.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's not picked up. Instead, it's
Yeah,
the Ursa.
sorry.
I want you guys to give some final thoughts, how you think it's going to go, lanes, team fights further on.
Yeah, I don't mind Soniqs Ursa last pick. I think it gives them an ability to scale versus the Pudge, right? Like you can always take him down no matter how tanky he is with that flash heap. But overall, will they reach that timer? That's my only question.
Okay.
Yeah. My biggest issue is just that it feels like this Ursa has to deal with like 3 separate heroes. There's a Night Stalker going on your supports. There's a Pudge to kill. There's a Lone Druid to kill. You can't deal with all of them. So the rest of the teams needs to step up hard
All
too.
right, the Ursa might be kited through this game, but we will see as we jump into game 2 between Soniqs and Liquid with Sunspan and Jenkins.
People cannot say our names without laughing, it seems, Jenkins. How do you feel about that?
I'm a joke.
Okay. You know, what's interesting, though,
What?
is we were in the green room. We were watching the draft, because this one hadn't started yet. We were watching the draft of the LGD game.
That's right.
And they picked Pudge.
They did.
Spoiler. And I believe Slacks asked you, because you are the Pudge expert, what is the hardest counter to Pudge in the game? You instantly said Ursa.
I did.
And that's what we're seeing here.
I did. Old Lizzie boy said it. You get, no matter how tanky you get, no matter how much farm you get, he can always kill you full to 0. So this Ags build, this big farming, fat, juicy boy that Pudge becomes, doesn't matter. I don't want too bit of a southern accent. It's force of
I
habit.
can only imagine
It's,
why.
it's force of habit at this point.
Yes,
but,
understandable. So this,
infectious.
So again, this isn't a best of 3. It's a 2-game series. Liquid obviously taking game 1, but you talked about it last game that the DPC points are incredibly important for both teams. I mean, Liquid are just like right. I mean, they could get in without doing anything at this major.
They could.
Theoretically.
They could. Soniqs, they're pretty close too. They're pretty close. They've got like 600 or something. I think they could technically get really lucky. Probably not. Probably not. But they need a win.
They need like a top 4. Top 6 maybe.
I think top 6 would do it.
Top 6. And they would be very happy with that, of course. As we get ourselves into the game, and no surprise, because it was not banned in... Well, actually, it was banned in second phase, the Lone Druid. But Matu taking it for himself in the first phase this time around to make sure that he has that comfort pick. Apparently, you played a pub with him recently where he carried you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the Lone Druid.
I was saying that my team really sucked, and then I realized that Matu was the carry there. I was reminded by that, some of the chatters on the old stream there.
Okay, good.
I said, of course, everybody but my Lone Druid. Sucks.
Yes, of course, because Matu
30
is very
seconds to
good.
battle.
in
Yeah,
fact, at
that
Dota.
that is a TI winner indeed. He did win one of those.
But part of the draft differential this time around, I think the only difference in the first phase bans was that Puck was not banned, which means Quinn gets it for himself. So that ends up being a comfort pick. Puck might be considered, at least in NA, like one of the games that we've is the strongest hero in the game to a lot of teams.
It is. It is. Particularly good against Marcy. It's very hard to connect onto the puck. Not on a Dazzle, though.
Yeah, Fata looks to be in a bit of trouble. Yawar ends up taking the bounty rune for himself. He has the Fury Swipes ready to go, but Fata looks like he's going to get first blooded by Boxy. So Yawar just going to get another right click in, not even, actually. Will have to waddle his way back to the lane. And, I mean, that's one thing I do want to talk about is the waddling from Ursa, a.k.a. the kite ability of the hero.
Yeah.
Do you think Liquid has an acceptable lineup to kite this bear?
I do. It is difficult to play Ursa into Lone Druid sometimes. I feel like he gets, you ult and then he roots you, and then you're like, oh, I got status resistance, and then he just roots you again. That can happen. There's the fear. There's Marcy that's going to be disposing people. Jakiro has long-range stun, lots of slows. So yeah, I do think there are options here for Liquid to deal with the Ursa.
But if he's able to right-click, he can obviously kill any hero in the game. But the fact that you have a lot of high HP heroes on Liquid, like Lone Druid obviously with the ult, you got 3 strength heroes in the middle there, and then Jakiro for an int hero, pretty damn tanky.
Stats, pretty good stats, yeah. It does feel like one of those games that if Yawar gets a really great start and has like a 1-item advantage, maybe he gets his Diffusal Blade and like picks up a couple of kills with it, gets a 1-item advantage.
Oh yeah, that's a hook right there.
Tries to go for the range creep. He's going for the snipe. Yep. This is it.
So for people that, I mean, I'm sure a decent amount of people that are watching the major that haven't gotten to watch the DPC. So take us through why Pudge is being played as position 1 generally these days.
Yeah, so
I mean, sometimes we see mid, occasionally support maybe.
It's a much better core. Basically, his flesh heap got changed so that you can activate it, and it gives you damage block. Don't trust the tooltip though, because it's not normal damage block, which does not scale with other reductions. With Pudge, if you have a ton of armor and you're damage blocking after the armor reduction. So to a hero like Death Prophet, especially, who's doing damage with Exorcism, these small little damage intervals, she's doing damage with her Spirit Siphon, you do virtually no damage to Pudge. So with items, Pudge is just infinitely tanky. You get an Ags, you also do a ton of damage. It's healing reduction as well, and a lot of people are getting Satanics and Scotties and these sort of like healing trading items on carries. So Pudge is this ridiculous timing when you get the Ags, where you just can't die. You do a ton of AoE magic damage and have this crazy spell lifesteal keeping you maxed out.
And what exactly do you think the build-up into the Ags? Because we do see the Ags as like the second item. We see a lot of phase boots. We see some Vanguards, maybe some hoods. Is that just... and this game in particular, do you think either one of those is a better choice? Or both, potentially?
I've seen the Vanguard into, like, disassemble eventual hood, which it depends on what you think is the, like, scariest form of damage in the early game. In this one, it's pretty 50-50. Like, Ursa is kind of good against Vanguard because he just builds up damage with the Fury swipes. Death Prophet also doesn't really care about damage blocks, so probably Hood. But Vanguard also, it helps you tank towers. So if you want to run around with the Pudge early and use him to tank towers, so like the Lone Druid could actually take those. They do have a Lone Druid and a Jakiro on Liquid, so they've got a lot of tower push, right? So maybe you want to get the Vanguard on Pudge, so that way you can run around and actually be active with him. It just depends on what they want to do in the game, but generally it's one of those items and then Ags. You never really want to go both, because it delays the timing a little bit too much.
And I actually don't know the answer to this because it's been a decent amount of time since we've seen Ursa. But what is the item build these days? Is it Diffusal anymore?
I think it's still Diffusal.
Battle Fury is just not a thing, right? These days with Ursa? At least I haven't seen it in a long time.
I have seen the occasional Battle Fury in NA.
That's just NA.
With Monkey Kings and Juggernauts. Not so much on Ursa, but I do feel like we could. There's like a 10 or 20% chance that we could see it. More than likely, it'll be the Diffusal build.
I think considering the lineup they're going against, like Lone Druid's going to push early. Pudge is obviously not something that goes super late necessarily. It's like something that wants to pressure you early as well. Night Stalker in addition, like I don't think you can afford to go for a farming item.
Yeah, it's like the Diffusal almost lets you farm because it gives you kill threat and ability to fight. And if you just go late game, like I feel like an Ursa with 3 items to a Pudge with 4 items, the Ursa still wins that, right? So I don't think you need the extra farm on Ursa. You just need to not lose the game early. And you're pretty comfortable going late against a Pudge. But the Ursa, the Pudge is not the true carry in this game. The Lone Druid is.
I've been Insania getting burned down by the Spirit Siphon. Looks like that's going to be the first kill for Quincy Soniqs.
Yes.
Man, that took a while.
Got it.
Holy jeez, that was bad.
You're overheating.
Just a little mini stroke there. Thinking of Soniqs. That's really difficult when the logo's not there. But
the healthcare here, you should be careful having your little strokes.
Yeah, that is true.
Not
Quite
Sweden
expensive.
anymore.
But we can see in terms of the CS, 27-4 for the Putka, as mid lane Boxy looking for the opening on Quinn, but it's not going to happen. And then Ursa 25-10, so roughly similar position 1 farm. And then mid lane is the real story. Quinn a little bit behind in the mid lane versus the Matu. Lone Druid gets off the Waning Rift here. The Dispose will be there with the Bear. Actually going to get the first hit root, but you can see 2 members of Soniqs come in to try to take out this Bear. And they will not be successful.
If he had coil, I think he actually probably would have coiled the Bear there. Like the big solution to Lone Druid that everybody has been doing, and I think a big reason why the hero fell off for a long time, is because you can just kill the Bear. And it gives more XP and more gold than a hero does. It's
He gives more XP.
300 XP.
Really?
Yeah, it gives a ton of XP and ton of gold.
Is it a fixed 300 throughout the whole game?
It's a fixed 300. So yeah, so the later the game goes, the less you care. But like in laning, you focus the bear, and the bear does not scale with like stat items either. So it is a lot easier to kill. With that being said, there is now the new armor buff where the hero and the bear like share part armor, and so I think that's a big reason that it's harder to kill the bear.
Bottom lane, Crippling Fear. Boxy initiated to start things out. Dispose finally used. Fata is here, though, with the Shadow Wave. And that should scare off the rest of Liquid. So you are going to be just fine here. Of course, it is nighttime, so Zai a lot more powerful than he was a few seconds ago. He has his Helm of the Iron Will, so going for the early armlet for himself.
You know, the nice thing about going Vanguard on carry Pudge is that often there will be Ancient stacks for you, and Vanguard makes it easier to farm Ancient stacks. When you're offlane Pudge, there's not as much these Ancient stacks, so you go for a Hood so you can fight better.
We're going to see a coil in the mid lane. It's on Matu, but he just withstands most of it. But you can see so much damage coming out from the Exorcism and even the Arctic Burn of MSS, so they end up taking out Matu, which is a big kill. Leslau gets credit for that, and try to use this Exorcism to do some damage to this tier 1 mid as well. And he's going for, he really loves the Spirit Vessel
Yeah.
on basically every hero he plays. And
It's
obviously
amazing.
this game is quite good.
Yeah, you're playing against essentially 3 like big tanky boy cores.
Yep,
It's
Vata looks to be dead as Zai pops the ult there. He's going to get off his grave for the time being, as you are actually in the area, but not going to do too much to ward off Zai. We'll get some right clicks in, though. And back to farming. He is going Battle Fury.
Yep,
Okay.
the NA special.
Very interesting. So I mean, I love seeing Battle Fury on this year because he can actually just get tons of items throughout the entire game, but it's about whether you get run over before your second item, which pretty much has to be BKB, I would assume. As another coil comes in. Was that an Arcane rune onto Quinn? That felt like quite the low cooldown. Is Matu back in the mid lane, so Soniqs doing a good job of keeping the kills on their side. As MSS, as I say that, the old caster curse. Nope. Looks like he's going to be just fine. Gets that salve as well.
That would have been really bad for MSS to just feed a solo Pudge farming. Like, this hero, if he does get a couple of kills in the early game, it can, like, he can snowball really hard. You can still see the old, you know, classic Dendy Pudge running around with Flesh Sheep stacks, hooking and killing everything. Like, that can't happen. It's just less common these days because people value farming. But if you run into a Pudge's lane, just die to him. It's like, he'll snowball on you. That's fine.
So he has Vanguard. Is going to be going for those phase boots.
Okay, so...
And it looks like he will be disassembling Vanguard for the Hood.
Yeah, he's got
unless that's just a casual cloak.
Cloak queued up. I mean, eventually, it's like 175 extra gold to finish it into the Hood.
Yep.
And you're going to want the Eternal Shroud for the spell Lifesteal, as well as the mana that it gives you. Honestly.
Wait, how early do you go Eternal Shroud?
Not early. After your
After
Ags,
Ags?
I think. Yeah, it's like after Ags. You can also sometimes go for Blink
Yeah.
after the Ags. It depends on how good you think your team is at like getting on the enemy team, which... With Marcy, it's pretty good, and
we've seen a lot of like right after Ags, the BKB as well.
That's also if you want to be safer. I guess the only thing there is like BKB would probably be good in this game just because then you can't get coiled into Ursa just mangling you.
Yeah, the old mangling action.
Yeah, it's not good for Pudge.
Yeah, but Mickey top of the net worth right now, and okay, his build, I keep looking at it because Pudge is such an interesting hero. He looks like he might be going Blink early, but we'll see if he ends up changing his mind or not. So no Ags in sight yet, but easy Waning Rift from Quinn. Going to stop the initiation to start, but the Dispose on top of Quinn as well with the Crippling Fear from Zai. And that is a big kill going the way of Liquid. As you can see, the TP's come in from Soniqs, but not able to get any collateral. So Quinn ended up getting disposed on, and that actually cost him his life. Very unfortunate for him. Boxy looks to be A-okay. As the Exorcism kind of wasted, feels like. And even Yawar came in, despite going for a Battle Fury build. Wants to take part in these fights, which we've seen him do a lot on basically every carry, it feels like. But he doesn't really go Battle Fury on a lot of carries these days.
It does kind of feel like if you don't show up to push towers or to deal with tower pushes as a carry, you can. Oh man.
Yep, we got the
Mickey.
coil. It's going to be broken right off the bat. Mickey looks to be okay. Is the rebound coming in from Boxy? Enrage, Yawar. Looks like he's not going to be able to catch up thanks to the hook save.
All right, Marcy Pudge.
A lot of mobility.
Yeah. Lots of HP on Mickey too with the Vanguard. Lots of effective HP.
Yeah, Zai getting chased a bit by Leslau. Don't think he's going to go any deeper here, though. Still has 3 Spirit Siphons, so it can definitely push Zai off. It is daytime, so he is quite worthless.
Yeah.
Feels quite bad to be a day stalker. For
Man, look at Zai's build. He went for Windlace Armlet. This is a very strange looking build. No boots either. Very value in terms of stats. If you feel like you're already getting on top of people, then this is just a super stat efficient build.
Yeah, Leslau might be in some trouble. Ice Pat's going to connect Mickey there with the Dismember. And the Macropyre even used as well, just to ensure that no Spirit Siphon shenanigans save out Leslau. So, successful gank there from Liquid.
Pretty cool gank from Liquid. Like, I think Lelis felt safe being totally alone up here because he's farming against a Night Stalker. And it's a Night Stalker at daytime with no Dark Ascension, so like, why the hell would there ever be a gank coming to him? When would you think that, right? So Liquid is playing off of that. They're like, it's just a next level little play. It does mean that Mickey and Zai are farming in the same area, which is a bit inefficient, but Zai has his TP up, so he could go bot if he wanted to.
Yep, Quinn close to the Witchblade. He's off to a bit of a slow start. I mean, obviously we cast a lot of NA. We're used to him just dominating the laning stage. That definitely is not the case this game.
No.
But it's not like he's struggling mightily. But he's kind of middle of the pack, it feels like.
To be honest, I feel like this is a lot more of a Quinn hero than Zeus is.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot more mechanically interesting, I suppose.
You don't like jump?
Heavenly Jump is very mechanically interesting. Yeah, it's quite good. It jumps you away.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But you have to be moving, or else it won't jump you away.
That's right, actually.
It's
That's
difficult
a lot
mechanical skill.
Right, you have to have high APM for that.
Yeah.
So.
I see the smoke from Soniqs here at the top lane. Just trying to push the lane in as Quinn. Gonna spot out Zai, and gonna get off the coil. But you can see the TPs are coming in. The Witchblade being shown now with the Spirit Siphon there as well. Zai waits out the coil, but ends up dropping anyway to Leslau's ult. And Insane, knowing that he will likely die here, just trying to kill off the wave to prevent this push. As Leslau will find him with the Exorcism in all likelihood. Quinn just taking out the rest of the opposing wave as the fortification is popped. But either way, Liquid will have to give up this tower. They delayed as much as they could, but a nice couple kills here from Soniqs.
Lelis is top net worth on his team. He's absolutely dominating this game. By the way, he does this Soul Ring build on Death Prophet. I've not seen a lot of other people do this one. I really like it. He goes for Soul Ring and then the 2 seconds off Crypt Swarm talent. Ooh, Mickey with a nice solo hook.
Hook Dismember, and that is a dead Fata. Of course, we'll get the Grave off. And Mickey not interested in getting the Flesh Heap stacks, will instead just give all of it to Matu. I mean, that feels... I'm not going to lie, watching Pudge not get the Flesh Heap stack.
I know.
I know it doesn't matter as much these days, but it's just like an old habit. As Hook, oh, not going to connect, but MSS still taking a ton of damage from Zai. The Curse keeps him at bay, though. Only going to be half duration because he was all alone. Horsey onto MSS, but the Void finishes him off from Zai as the nighttime now will end.
I got a question for you, Shannon.
Yes?
Let's see if this hook hits real quick.
Great question.
Oh, okay. Question. How do you feel that Mickey is using the Dota Cinema Rot, but not using the actual set?
Huh, that's weird. Oh, yeah, because you can do that now. That's right.
I also use the Rot.
Yeah, the Rot's great.
Yeah, the Rot is...
I appreciate that.
It's really good. Just the Rot.
No, I think the face is the best cosmetic in Pudge in the game. Actually, the beard.
That's right. For $59.99 on the Steam.
It's quite cheap, actually. You can probably get it for $1.
It's like a few cents.
You are, and this is what you pick Ursa for. They do get scanned out, though, so Liquid are aware, and they're TPing in. The Bear's going to scout it out.
Dead Bear?
Yep, we have the Macropyre coming in as well. Boxy trying to get into the pit. Yawar just focusing Roche on nothing else. He pops his ult. He ends up snatching the Aegis, does Boxy, so Yawar will get out of the pit without a prize for himself. They do get the Roche kill, though. That doesn't really matter too much as they're going to get the disposal onto Yawar. Pops that ult, but not going to be able to get out this time. So 2 dead in favor of Liquid. What an absolute disaster for Soniqs as they lose 4. Jesus, that was horrible.
Did Yawar get the Aegis?
No, it got snatched by Boxy.
It got snatched by I see. So he went down and then respawned. Man.
That was unfortunate timing for sure. See, the interesting thing about this was it felt like game 1, where it was scanned out. They knew that they were doing Roche, but Liquid went immediately.
Liquid was there in time.
And
yeah, exactly.
Soniqs were kind of slow. They were grouping up a little bit, perhaps hesitating a bit. Ends up costing that Roche in game number 1. You see bottom lane. Yep, Ice Path, pretty good. I mean, it's a decent counter to the Puck hero, as Mickey will miss the hook here because he does not have the correct cosmetics equipped.
That's right.
2K lead for Liquid, but just the fact that you're taking an Aegis out of an Ursa's hand when the hero is literally balanced around getting Roche.
He is, yeah. His ability.
He does have Battle Fury though.
It literally does something. Has a different reset time on the stacks for Roche. You're totally right. Liquid is just super on point with their Roche calls in this series, whether it's to take Roche or to contest Roche. So whoever's making those calls, absolutely making this series look very easy for them. With that being said, smoke on smoke action.
Yep, Leslau. Looks like his smoke might have popped there. Not sure they're going to find anything, although Blink Dagger is online for Mickey. We talked about that potentially being a thing. So opting to not go Ags first, which we've seen in most, if not all, games that I've cast of Pudge in this last DPC season.
This is like a mid-Pudge build.
Yeah.
Dendi actually climbed to 9.5k MMR or something like that, going Blink first. And I was seeing every other mid-Pudge go Ags, and then everybody started copying. I don't know if they copied off of Dendi, but he was the first person that I actually saw doing this, and people were taking note, man. He was owning pubs with it. Just a classic Blink build.
Yep, Zai is going to get the spot out onto Quinn, but the cancellation of the TP won't be there because he already used Void, so Quinn able to get out. Now that I look at it, kind of a hard, if you want to call it a hard puck game, but Ice Path out of Phase Shift, you got Crippling Fear, which, like, you're never going to itemize, it feels like. Maybe a Force Staff, we've seen that in the past, but you're not going to get like a BKB on a puck normally. As Quinn, speaking of which, he's going to get hooked and brought down. Zai gets credit for that as the curse just a little bit too late. And Liquid just getting basically everything that they want. With a 5k lead now, and firm control.
And Liquid's, I mean, they're fighting right on a ward. They're fighting directly on a ward, but that just doesn't seem to matter. Their heroes feel way stronger at this point. Part of it, I do think, is Yawar going for the Battle Fury. If he had Diffusal, then maybe showing up to these fights, it looks a lot better for Soniqs. I had to think there for a second. I was gonna let's see.
Yeah. Well, we'll really find out in the next, I want to say, 5 minutes if this Battle Fury has paid off. Because if the lead is growing even more in favor of Liquid, then this is going to be hard to come back. He is going for a BKB on the Ursa, and I would assume, he's going to get hooked. Dismember. Enrage does go off, though. So the stats resist is going to keep him alive a little bit longer. Ice Path into the Macro Pyre, but down goes Yawar again. And that is rough when you only have a Battle Fury in your inventory.
So I do want to say the one advantage that Pudge does have over Ursa is that status resistance does nothing against Rot. So you can just keep rotting him and stay on top of him. The problem is, like, if Ursa has any semblance of a lead, he just turns and kills you while you're doing that. Right. But in a situation like this, like if he gets hooked out like that, Mickey can just sit on top of him and get him.
Oh, the coil misses. Zai might still be dead, though. You can see a lot of slows coming out from Sonic, so they do find the kill, but still a lot sloppier than we're used to seeing from the former Quincy Crew squad. Fata is going to get disposed into the Ice Path. Leslau pops the Exorcism, though, but you can see the mobility from Liquid. Everybody's able to get out. And that means a Leslau ult wasted again.
Yeah, they're just dodging the Exo. I mean, it does mean that Soniqs defends the tower, you know? They trade an Exo for the tower, but I feel like without Exorcism, with how well Lelis is doing in this game... Ooh, Mickey, he's got Blink up in one.
Yeah, but he's going to get the Dismember off onto Quinn. Has the Waning Rift, Illusory Orb. He might be dead, though. Mickey gonna blink Rot. Tries to go for the hook, but Quinn able to blink out to safety. And the TP should be successful. A little bit hairy there for Quinn, but he still lives.
I mean, dude, it's just looking like... I mean, look at that engagement. Like, Mickey's feeling himself, going for these just almost like silly plays. Like, you have to get really lucky to catch a puck there, but he goes for it anyway because he just knows he has this lead. And Quinn actually almost dies. Like, you're never supposed to die to a solo pudge on puck. It's so easy to just silence him and like jaunt away. But Quinn, like, he's playing really scared.
Yeah, it makes sense considering, I mean, how many solutions they kind of have to the puck, as we've talked about. And there's not really an easy way to itemize. I'm actually curious what he's trying to build. So it actually is going to be the Force Staff. So you obviously got the blink after the Witchblade, but the fact that you have to go Force Staff on puck, as I mentioned before, it feels really bad but necessary against Crippling Fear.
I do like it. I do really like it. It's like even Force Staffing one of your allies out of Jakiro Stun or Dispose or Pudge Dismember, like all of these heroes are countered to a degree by Force Staff. So, and I've even seen Quinn do this like just against Crippling Fear, and this was even a thing for a while, to get a Force Staff on puck just to break the coil. So it is like an offensive item as well on puck. So I really like this pickup. I like that he's not being greedy, going for some Sanjin Kaya. Like, he knows his place in this game. He knows that it's looking really difficult for him. He probably feels that he's bottom net worth out of his cores, and he just needs to survive and get a couple of rounds of spells off, and they could potentially win off of Yawar having a bunch of net worth from this Battle Fury. And Lelis is having a really good game. Like, basically, Lelis is the mid in this game, and Quinn is the offlaner.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And the fact that Quinn obviously went Blink Dagger means he's actually the main initiator in some cases.
Yep.
Obviously, if you can get the curse with the Arctic Burn set up on the terrain, then
it's tough.
You go for that, but that's, yeah, you need a lot of vision. But in terms of frontline, like, it's going to be Ursa once he gets that BKB, and the coil has kind of set him up. And the question is, do they have enough damage in that coil, or can Liquid do what they've been doing, kind of dodge these big, like, once the Exos pop, they've been out, but can they get out if they get coiled? With the BKB soon to come from Zai, that'll help. Actually, I think it's on the way, being delivered. The fact that he's getting that before the position one on the opposing team is really telling this game.
Yeah. Zai's a big boy. Zai's a big boy. But I do feel like Soniqs will have a timing when they get the two BKBs on the two cores. And even the Force Staff on Quinn means that he can go for these initiations and not feel like if he blinks in, he's going to die. Because that's kind of a problem, right? If you're Puck and you blink in to, like, coil somebody, and then all of a sudden Night Stalker comes in, stands right on top of you, and you don't have blink to blink out of your phase shift immediately because you blinked in to initiate, you're dead. But if you have a Force Staff, then he can be a lot more, like, loose with his initiations. Like, you see somebody slightly out of position, you blink forward and you catch them. So I do think that there's this, like, 3-item timing. I mean, is there anything else on the supports that they're really close to? Maybe blink on Wyvern. Yeah, MSS is close to his blink. Although I don't know how much that really matters. I suppose it helps, like, Liquid can't just run away from the Exo anymore. That's been a bit of a pain, is that the Exo gets popped and Liquid just runs away. They've got very fast heroes for doing that.
Yep, as we have a pause, as you've noticed, looks like Leslau's the one that crashed here. I was talking to another person that I know.
Okay. Was it Cinderin? That's the other one.
It was Cinderin.
Okay.
And we were talking about dark horses. What do you think of the term white donkey? It's the opposite of a dark horse.
It sounds like a diseased
so
animal.
Dark horse is a team that you would not expect to win, to maybe, put up a fight and do pretty well for themselves.
Oh, you think overrated.
A white donkey, which now that I think about it, a bright donkey would be a better name, but we already named it white donkey for some reason. White donkey is somebody that is favored to win, but will actually not do so well. Do you think there's a team that fits the white donkey label, the moniker?
Huh. I mean, it's hard to say with so many stand-ins.
That's true.
I guess considering at least from what I heard from the round 1 of games that have been going on, apparently Outsiders got kind of stomped. I believe they played RNG.
Spoiler.
Yeah, well.
Who'd they play?
I think they played RNG, and I'm pretty sure RNG stomped them. And remember, RNG...
That was game 1, though, only, right?
That was game 1, yeah. Okay, so... Well, I won't spoil the second game. I'll just do half a spoiler. So maybe Outsiders, because people are, like, pretty much every person that I saw predicting had Outsiders in top 3.
So you think white donkey for Outsiders?
Maybe. I mean, if you're making me pick one,
yeah,
they might be
Do you know who my white donkey was?
EG?
No, that was I picked EG to get second again.
You did.
Actually, no, I picked them to win because it is an NA.
I like that you have faith in EG. You are
Oh.
a knight of faith for EG.
I didn't have faith when Fly wasn't on the team. It's literally just Fly.
Okay, you're a knight of faith.
I have faith
Fly.
in Fly because he's a great captain and he's underrated.
And a great guy.
My white donkey, believe it or not, and again, this is when you pick a white donkey, people are gonna think you're crazy. That's the point of it.
Mhm.
It was actually Liquid, which
Really?
they're looking good here.
They're looking great.
They're looking good here.
Great.
But their last couple lands have not been very good.
Doesn't that make them like just a donkey?
No,
Because
they're still the white donkey because they got first or second in DPC.
they came
right?
in strong, but the start of DPC did look shaky.
Okay.
Like Europe was actually very close.
Did they get first or second in EU? I actually can't remember.
I think they ended up tie braked.
Oh, they tied for second, I think, right?
Let me check.
Because Tundra won.
They tie braked OG for second.
Yeah. I mean, so EU probably the most competitive. Actually, maybe not. China might have been the most competitive reason, but still, there's no way that is not a favored team coming into this. There's no way.
I guess if you look at the total results, it's just that Liquid, like, one day they'll underperform, another day they'll completely overperform. So I don't know. It's hard to. They're like some mix between like a donkey and a horse.
So a mule.
They're a mule. Yeah.
So
Like a.
they're a mule. They should change their logo.
What's
then.
the middle between bright and dark?
the gray? I don't know.
What? Gray? No, we're talking in terms of light.
Right.
So what's like a
Bright,
a
dark, dim.
a dim mule? They're like a dim mule. Right?
All right, we're gonna need some people to get on the old Photoshop app, and they're gonna need to redesign that Liquid logo to be a mule. Apparently,
This is becoming the Gavin shellacking tier list. This is the same thing. It's power creeping. We're
Yeah.
power creeping it
that is true.
already.
It's a mule.
Yeah.
As apparently we are ready, so this discussion can finally end. 6K lead for the Mules, aka Liquid, against Soniqs.
Oh, there we go. I see.
Yeah, they got to fix their. Is that TeamSpeak? People still use
That
that?
would be TeamSpeak. Yeah, they're very edgy.
Wow.
That's sound quality, baby.
Wow.
The way that I said that sound quality, baby. You know what I mean? It sounded like I was saying. Anyway.
Thank God you can stop talking now because the pause is officially over. 6K lead for Liquid. And the next Roche we won't know for a minute and a half. But Liquid are going to smoke up. Want to take advantage of Mickey just being an absolute beast right now. He's still 1,000 away from finishing the Aghanim Scepter. But with Zai having that ult available, they feel pretty confident they can initiate, and they're going to do so right onto Mr. Quinn again. Down goes the puck. Great initiation from Liquid, and that is just punishing.
Yeah. If you want to know where Quinn is, you just look at the clock. If it's close to a 2-minute mark, he'll be at the rune.
True. And they read him like a book, no doubt.
It's like a picture book. With
Well,
just
if you're a
arcane
mule,
rune.
then you need a picture book. You're not a very intelligent creature, after
That's
all.
right. Mules are very, very dumb animals.
You need to look up how to make a mule. I actually don't know the difference between a mule and a donkey, if I'm being honest.
Half donkey, half horse. I think
That's what a mule
that's
is?
what they taught me as a
I thought
child.
How do you make a donkey, then? I thought donkeys were made from horses. We'll find out another time as the Ags is now online for Mickey and the Basher for the Bear. Let's talk about what's on the Bear. It's been a while since we looked at that bad boy. As we're going to see Fata die, but I think the Bear's items are going to be a little bit more interesting right now. You got the Deso, Mask of Madness, and Skull Basher, along with the Casual Gloves of Haste. El Doge, as the Bear is called for Mr. Matu.
Yeah.
It is a panda, though, so...
Next item will actually be a boots for himself, so he's
Oh.
not so big, fat, and slow.
Like, is there... I see some people still go for the Wraith Band in the entire inventory. Is that still actually a thing? Or is it just, like, he
Gunner
doesn't
does
feel...
it. Gunner does it.
So Gunner's the only one that does it these days?
That's Gunner, yeah. I think it's...
How is it... Was it nerfed? It was nerfed somehow. I can't remember exactly.
Maybe the shared armor was lowered a bit or something? I don't really remember.
But that actually was really weird to see, like, a 6-slot Wraith Band, no boots.
Yeah.
Just to give you ridiculous armor with the bear.
Yeah, maybe 6 of them was like a bit overkill. I mean, even just sharing the little bit of armor, like, because True Form gives you bonus armor, right? So it's like even without the Wraith Bands, it's still huge for the bear.
Boxy sitting in Roche, scouting it out. It is available. So this is the Aegis and the Shard. And I assume you're going to agree with me here that if Soniqs do not get this Roche, then this game is going to be feeling impossible. Especially when the Ursa is so dependent on it. They're going to smoke up. Yawar does have the BKB. It's the full 9 seconds. And they desperately need to take a good fight, or this could just be a 2-0 for Liquid.
Lelis has his BKB too, which honestly, I feel like that even matters more than Yawar's BKB. I think the EXO can do a lot in these fights.
Radiant are scanning.
But yeah, Liquid, man, they're so on top of this Roche.
Boxy has not moved. He may have crashed, but likely just scouting out Roche.
And the way that Liquid is playing top 2, this is actually quite abnormal for Dire. Like, Dire often wants to play in Radiant jungle, right?
See a little mini save there onto Insani, who's at half HP right now. But see, most of the smoke here from Soniqs is dissipated now. Liquid just trying to prevent the Roche. That is like the only thing that they're trying to do here. They get some vision now in the triangle. Quinn has to be a bit careful. As you see, oh, the entangle and the hook actually set up by the cold embrace. Very unfortunate for Soniqs, but the BKB from Laszlo is there. He's going to pop the Exorcism. The Curse going to keep both cores in place. We can see Zai just focusing on MSS right now. The Grave is going to keep him alive a little bit longer. BKB from Yawar and the Coil, so Matu looks to be dead. That is a big kill for Soniqs, and if they can get one more, they can easily get this Roche kill. As Boxy takes a tumble as well, and Leslaw's Exorcism just past the 50% mark here. Might go for the tier 1 tower and then potentially into Roche. 50 seconds of no Matu.
Yeah, I mean, they can get both. You can take this tower. Oh,
yeah, okay, we have the buyback coming in. The Blink, Dismember, Ice Path as well, but Leslaw healing up now that the Exorcism is gone. Dispose actually stuns 2 heroes. Grave onto Laszlo. He's going to stay alive just fine. They're going to get the kill onto Mickey, who buys back into the game as well. Ice Path's going to connect onto 2. Looks like Fata's finally going to drop here. And the Dispose keeps Yawar in place. And it looks like, in the end, Liquid do find the core kills that they were looking for. The 1 core kill, which is Ursa. But it did cost them several buybacks. The hook connects Mickey. Laszlo is done. Now the question is, can they Roche? Matu's up in 5 seconds. If they go into the Roche pit, I believe Soniqs will have to buy back to try to contest this.
I don't know. I don't know if you do. I feel like Soniqs, you give this up and you play off of the fact that if you kill Mickey, he has no buyback. He's probably going to be taking the Aegis as a result of this. But still, like, a Pudge could probably die twice. Yeah, I like that they're not buying back here. I think that this gives them a better window into the game, because if they all buy back, it's going to be too expensive, and they don't even have the Exorcism.
Oh, yeah. Mickey gets the Shard, so Dismember will be able to devour his own teammates and heal them.
Yep.
Most annoying thing about that is teammates jumping out prematurely and not getting healed. But I'm sure they can manage that as a professional team, I would hope.
That's right. There's a shocking amount of people that don't realize you can stay in there.
Yeah.
Because they're just so used to clicking constantly in Dota, they click to move and then they get out. But it's a amazing Pudge Ag Shard game.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. You can pull somebody out of Coil, you can pull them out of like Ursa if they get feared by Death Prophet.
Well, I was gonna say that based on the core Pudge games I've seen in this patch, Shard has almost never been purchased, at least.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because it doesn't really fit the... It's not like a support Pudge that's saving you, necessarily. But you do have the Blink Dismember to save, but then you're not using it offensively, which... Pretty much the reason you're picking this hero is to do like a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, as a core, probably the best thing about the Shard is the 5-second cooldown reduction, to be honest. I was hoping they would leave this at 10 seconds.
It was nice.
It was very nice at 10 seconds.
Wasn't it 15 at one point?
I'm not sure. It was definitely 10.
It was, yeah.
At a point.
It was very nice.
And it was nice. It was very nice. Like, you just constantly have Dismember up, and you go for the Dismember duration talent as well. It felt like you had pretty insane uptime on that spell. But, you know, it gives you more options in team fights. And in Dota, the more options you have, the exponentially more likely you are to win the game. Because the enemy team is trying to figure out this puzzle of, like, how to beat you in a fight. and you add another option, there's like many permutations based on now that option that you have to win the game. So it's nice to have around.
Now we have another smoke, another ult from Zai. Looks like he's just going to traverse some terrain, maybe get some map control back.
Yeah, they don't think that Soniqs is just sitting in their base.
But they are. Yes.
They are. They're like, surely they must be sitting in the trees somewhere, right? Nobody wants to just sit and do nothing. But ironically, Soniqs is making the correct play of just sitting in the base. Otherwise, they'd be caught by this.
Yeah. But of course, in doing so, they're losing even more map control, even more of a lead discrepancy.
Yep.
9K now for Liquid.
Zai also had the gem for that little movement that he made there, so fully dewarded that jungle or made sure that there's no vision up there, which means that as Liquid runs down bot, they know that Soniqs is not going to feel comfortable heading out towards top. So it's actually kind of a cool play because there's nowhere for Soniqs to go. Now Liquid knows that, so all they do is they sit down here, and it's like, what are Soniqs going to keep sitting in their base? They've got to make a move at some point.
Yeah, but also something very fearsome about a lone druid with an Aegis that can just push extremely hard. Obviously it doesn't have Ags, so can't separate from the bear too much. Back in the day, Aegis used to be really bad on lone druid. We'll talk about that another time, as Forstaff not going to save Insanity. He's still stuck on the low ground here. Coil only connects onto one, but they do find Insanity at the very least. Curse, but there's the hook save. Beating his teammates a little bit. Can dismember them, but a nice waning rift onto 3 heroes. Quinn with that Witchblade doing so much damage, but there's the buyback from Insania, keeping in onto the outpost now. As Yawar has already used his ultimate, as Zai ends up using the Blink Dag with that crippling fear, but you can see ends up getting a nice hook from Mickey, so that finishes off at, MSS. As Fata's going to have to grave himself. Quinn doing a little bit of damage, but can't do much through BKB at the moment. Zai eats another creep, so back to a healthy amount of HP. Mickey focusing on Yawar. He's getting extremely low. Double kill from Mickey, and down goes the bear again. 12K lead for Liquid. And now they can continue to push, because that Exorcism is coming back to Leslie. He's going to heal up, but now he doesn't have a whole lot of damage to work with. There's a hook again. Nice job from Mickey. Ends up bringing Leslie down to the low ground. The buyback is forced out from Quinn. We can see the Ice Path keeping that Death Prophet in place. A lot of damage, though, onto Mickey. Might cost him his life here. Looks like it will. But it did cost the buyback at the very least onto the puck. Matu TP's out the bear. And it looks like the rest of Liquid should be okay. Although they might want to go back in.
Yeah, they have the bear. The bear's back.
Mask of Madness ready to go. The roar ends up missing. As Matu going to get some cover thanks to that ult from Insania. And that might back them up now, but Aegis expiring in 20 seconds as well. And after that fight, it cost a couple buybacks. Liquid still growing their lead.
Yeah, that was a classic fight of where Pudge goes in, hits a hook. We're like, oh, what a hook! And he just dies. That's a Pudge classic. Yeah, the thing with Death Prophet versus Pudge is, sure, the Spirit Siphon's not doing that much damage through the Pudge Flesh Heap. However, Spirit Siphon is one of the suck abilities in the game that doesn't need to actually take the enemy's HP. You just heal based on the damage that it like should do, which is really funny. So she heals the full HP even though he's like mitigating almost all the damage.
A prize.
So to that, you know, to that effect, like Death Prophet is still quite good against Pudge, even though a lot of her damage is now mitigated by his Flesh Heap.
Yeah.
She still heals to full.
I mean, they have 2 percentage-based damage sources anyway. So tanky heroes, theoretically, like this lineup does make sense, but again, the 2 Roches, really.
It's always the Roche.
Story here for Liquid.
Yeah, it's always the Roche. Did you know, actually, that Radiant in Dire has a 60% win rate in
Really?
the DPC. Yeah, Dire's a 60% win rate.
That is interesting.
And a big reason that people used to like Radiant is because of the Roche control that you got. Because you would play in the enemy jungle, you play in the Dire jungle, which means you're around Roche. However, people are not really just sitting in jungles anymore. As we saw with that play that Zai made, where he just pops ult and then scans the jungle and runs immediately back, people are kind of sweeping across the map more. Dire is often playing in their own jungle to secure Roche, and Liquid is doing an incredibly good job at that. That's exactly why they're getting the Roche on, is because they're realizing what jungle you're in doesn't really matter. What matters is Roche. That's what matters. As Zai, of course, picks up one of the chattest items in the game.
Yeah, as a third item.
This feels so nice when you have a lead.
A lot of times you'll see that as like a 5th, 6th item, but in that inventory that looks a little weird, I'm not going to lie. But
It's
yeah,
good.
With the lead.
I think it's an item that if it feels like if you get it when you're winning, it really pressures. Like he can jump the backline supports. It slows so much. They're just dead. It can feel like a grief in other games though. Like if you lose one fight and you go back to even, then it can feel like a grief. You'd much rather something that actually has some utility.
Zai with the ult again. He has the gem, of course, and he will continue to eat creeps thanks to his shard, which he's had for a long time. He rushed that pretty fast. And that gives a nice farming capability for Night Stalker that doesn't usually have. And they've already dewarded 2 pretty valuable wards for Soniqs, who are now essentially in the dark. In fact, I don't think they have one observer up anywhere. Just a couple sentries scattered about. So this is going to be a blind smoke. You can tell this, I don't know, it's obviously risky, but I think you have to go for something like this.
They're just trying to keep their heroes hidden as they do venture out. It's now officially nighttime.
They see Mickey. He's going to pop the BKB, looking for the Dismember. It'll be on Yawar, but he's also BKB, so not a whole lot of damage between the two of them. Les out chasing with the Exorcism, and again, Liquid disengaging once they see those green spirits come out. But the curse keeps Matu at bay. He's going to get beat down by his bear. The coil is going to break, but looks like he's going to be okay thanks to that hook from Mickey. And Yawar and company looking to potentially reset, as Mickey could eat Matu if he really wants to. Matu already in his true form, so there's a lot of extra HP to work with. Ice Path is going to connect onto the Death Prophet, and Boxing Company beating the crap out of Fato and Leza are the first 2 to fall in this engagement. And now the chase is on as Yawar dies next. 3 kills for Liquid, and nothing for Soniqs. Looking for more, and the Dispose will cancel the TP, so a 4th kill for Liquid in all likelihood. MSS staying alive a little bit longer. But obviously with no TP, he's going to be hard-pressed to get out of this, although he does traverse some trees. Zai?
Yeah.
All right, Zai finds him in the end, and now the rest of Liquid just pounding on these towers. As Quinn left to his lonesome here.
Mickey,
not a whole lot for him to do.
Mickey is the one of 2 people in the world who uses Cap's voice line. And the other one is Cap.
As they jump Quinn, he can't get away. 100 seconds, no buyback, and the push will be strong because you got a bear on your side. So Liquid end up taking this 2-0 in pretty convincing fashion, I'm not going to lie. And Soniqs, well, could it just be... I mean, we've talked about their performance on LAN. It feels like early on in tournaments they are, I don't know, they get off to rough starts a lot of the time.
They do.
But we've seen them come back before, so I don't know. This is, doesn't... Again, we cast a lot of NA and EU. Liquid, this is not a surprise that they're doing well.
Nope. No.
Soniqs, on the other hand, new sponsorship.
Yeah, they gotta get.
Not so good so far.
They gotta have a talking to. They gotta have it because it looked like a few, like some of their players were fine, on point for sure. Like Quinn needs a talk. It looks like he's got some nerves. It looks like he's got some. Lelis though.
Are you gonna talk to him?
I'll talk to him.
Okay.
I don't think he would appreciate that from me. But Liquid, they look, they got this in the bag.
Yeah, they're looking good. Let's go over to the panel and see what they have to say about this 2-0 resounding victory from Liquid.
Jenkins maybe can hit up Quinn on the Discord, give him a bit of a talking to. But people I want to talk to is Sheep and Lizard. We're going to break it down. This game number 2. You're done. NA, it's over. Is that
over.
what you're already claiming
It's over.
It's only
We're
one
lost.
series. And you're just saying NA done.
Nope, and it's done.
Okay.
We're out of here.
Any reason why, or you just want to say it's done? We're not
Oh,
gonna
we
break down any
lost.
further?
There's nothing else to say. We lost.
You don't want to talk about anything. Surely there is something, though, on the side of Soniqs that you guys were impressed with, even though it was a bit of a slippery slope for this draft.
Yep. Jenkins mentioned the player, Leslau, Lelis.
Yep.
He's the one. The item build was good. The performance from him was good. He was basically keeping them in the game. I think the problem might be the fact that they got the sponsorship. You know, you get the dough, you get the like that cash flow flowing in, and you just chill out a little bit too much. You start spending it on partying and whatnot. You don't really play as much Dotes anymore.
That's true.
Maybe that's the
That's
problem.
100% what happened.
I
yeah,
saw
for
the
sure.
team hardcore
1000%,
partying
yeah.
last night
Yeah,
in a bar. Don't ask me why I was there.
Yeah, don't have that. It's sort of happening. But the scoreboard here is up. Well, I'm going to ask some questions about Liquid, but first, looking at Soniqs, the Ursa. It was an issue. You were afraid that he was going to kind of get kited. You didn't know which target he really was going to have to focus on. Is that pretty reflective in kind of all the stats and the item builds that has resulted at the end here?
Dude, he had such a hard game.
Yeah.
Like, not even just Ursa, like everyone in general. There was a fight in Liquid's, or not Liquid's, Soniqs jungle bot, where they get this amazing curse off. But the problem is, like, Pudge hooks the hero back, and then, like, there's 4 stars. So on top of that, everyone's getting repositioned back and back and back. So Liquid are always able to reset these team fights really well and, like, kind of nullify Soniqs' heroes.
Yeah, I feel like there's a major difference in both of these games between 2 drafts, and that's that Team Liquid is constantly throwing issues at you, like problems, and Soniqs, they're the ones that they kind of have to deal with it. They have to figure out a way of actually dealing with it. Like this lone Druid, they banned it in the